Welcome back, curious minds. Today, we're taking a deep dive into the story of Horus, the god of the skies, warfare, and pharaohs in ancient Egypt. Horus is no straightforward god. His identity, his relationships, even his very nature changed and adapted over time. So, let's unravel the myth of Horus. Horus, as a falcon god, ruled the skies, embodying the power and grace of a bird of prey. And unlike some deities who start with a single story, Horus evolved. His worship began way back in the pre-dynastic period, and over time, he picked up more titles and more powers. He was a sky god and a god of war, but ultimately, he became the divine symbol of Egypt's pharaohs. Egypt had multiple hawk gods, and they were all called Horus, or versions of the name like Heru, Hor, or Har. Horus himself had a lot of faces, depending on the region. In Upper Egypt, he was Heru-Ur, and in Lower Egypt, he was Horus of Edfu. And each one came with different myths, powers, and even different personalities. So, how did the Egyptians keep track? Well, eventually, the most popular aspects of Horus from each region got merged into one, with Horus Behidet, or Horus of Edfu, becoming the main form of Horus that we think of today. What makes Horus fascinating is his close link with Egyptian rulers. Pharaohs were considered living embodiments of Horus while they reigned, almost like avatars for the god himself. After a pharaoh's death, they were seen as Osiris, Horus's father, who represents the afterlife. The Serek, or royal emblem of many kings, would feature Horus as a symbol of strength and protection. One pharaoh, Khasekhemwy, placed both Horus and Set, Horus's rival, on his Serek. Scholars think this might symbolize the tension and eventual balance between Horus and Set, and even a real historical struggle between different groups within Egypt. Set and Horus are like the ultimate rivals in mythology. Set is the god of chaos and disorder, while Horus is all about order, balance, and daylight. They represent the clash of light and dark, day and night. But at one point, they were seen as equals, almost balancing each other out. As Horus evolved, though, he became the son of Osiris, with Set as his uncle. This change in the story made Set's defeat possible, and Horus's claim to the throne even more dramatic. Their epic battles symbolize the triumph of order over chaos, and ultimately, good over evil. Now, you might recognize this symbol, the Eye of Horus. It's one of the most famous symbols from ancient Egypt, and was thought to protect the wearer with Horus's power. The eye also has a wild backstory. During one of his fights with Set, Horus's eye was ripped out. When it was restored, it became a symbol of healing and protection, broken down into pieces to represent the six senses. Isis, Horus's mother, was also a big part of his life and story. She was powerful enough to take down Set herself. But there's a twist. When the time came to strike, she couldn't do it, because Set was her brother. Horus, angry with his mom's mercy, lost his cool, and in a moment of rage, actually cut off her head. No worries though. Isis, being a goddess, regrew a cow's head as a replacement. Just another day in Egyptian mythology, right? But Horus wasn't always depicted as a powerful adult. Sometimes he was shown as a child, known for hunting dangerous animals like crocodiles and serpents. These images of young Horus became protective symbols, especially for young men. He represented courage, growth, and duty to family. Now, Horus wasn't just a warrior god or sky deity. He also had a softer side through his relationship with Hathor, the goddess of love, beauty, and music. Hathor, often depicted as a cow or as a woman with cow horns cradling the sun disk, symbolized motherhood, fertility, and joy. This goddess held a unique place in Horus's life, as his consort or wife, depending on the myth. Their connection wasn't just romantic or familial. It also served to balance Horus's often intense and warlike nature with gentleness, compassion, and joy. Together, they became an ideal pairing for the ancient Egyptians, a divine couple symbolizing a balance between strength and kindness, or war and peace. Many ancient inscriptions depict Horus and Hathor standing side by side, showing that their union was meant to be an image of harmony for all of Egypt. So, that's the legendary god Horus, from war god to the protector of Egypt's pharaohs, from a young warrior to the embodiment of royalty itself. His story evolved as Egypt evolved, and he left an indelible mark on Egyptian culture and beyond. Thanks for joining me today as we unpack the myth of Horus. Make sure to hit that like button if you enjoyed this video. Subscribe for more ancient tales and fascinating histories. And as always, stay curious.